And Lara Trump, host of My View with Lara Trump. Good to see you, Lara. I'll have you react to Alexis's reporting on what's happening in Rutgers University. What I find interesting is that this professor, writes this entire book about Antifa. He says, I'm not part of Antifa, but I just, I teach about it. And then you have somebody like Jimmy Kimmel who says, there is no Antifa. I want you to listen to this sound clip from Kimmel.
There's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the Chupacabra, everyone.
Okay, so what's happening here?
Well, there is Antifa. This White House classified them as a domestic terrorist organization, which they are. They use violence to intimidate ICE officers, people they disagree with, push back on law enforcement, and try to stop anything, that's the way of life in this country as we know it, that they disagree with. And that's not the way things should be done. So Antifa absolutely exists. I don't know what Jimmy Kimmel's talking about there. This professor, I thought it was funny. He said, I don't subscribe to it. I just study it. I just teach it. I mean, I think it's a little outrageous. And I think he's probably upset, Aisha, that he's been exposed for what he is. And he's been exposed by a lot of these, individuals with Turning Point. I am very happy to see that we have people on campus now who are able to express themselves. For so long, it felt like that it was just an indoctrination factory. And that's exactly what a professor like this very clearly is doing to so much of our youth out there. But now you have these individuals in Turning Point, starting new chapters across this country, making sure that they're unafraid in the way they're speaking. We are 1 month out from that horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk. And man, would he be happy to see the way that these students have made their voices loud and made sure that they are unafraid in everything that they say. So look, we'll see what Rutgers decides to do. Interesting, the guy fled the country, though. Maybe that tells us a lot about him.
Maybe it does. I want to switch gears to what's happening in Chicago and this fight that's escalating between your father-in-law and the leadership there, the Democrats there. And it's getting more and more intense every single day, this fight. President Trump said that he, wanted to see leaders in Chicago be put in jail because of this conflict. And then the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, said that he was going to do everything in his power to lead a resistance that is desperately needed to protect democracy and our humanity. How do you see this ending, Lara?
Well, I hope it ends with law and order being reestablished in a place like Chicago. Go talk to the residents of the south side of Chicago there, Aisha. I'm sure they'll tell you that they need help, that they don't feel safe in their own communities. If you go to Washington, D.C., where you saw President Trump bring in the National Guard, where you saw him federalize the police force, the people there and the citizens of Washington, D.C. are very grateful that he did that. You've seen murders drop out of the bottom. You've seen violent crime go down as well. And these people are finally able to live their lives again. It's a shame that you have leadership, whether it's Brandon Johnson, whether it's J.B. Pritzker, who I guess feel like they have to play politics. They have failed the citizens of Chicago. All you have to do is look at the statistics there. You can see that crime is up. And, what President Trump wants to do is he wants to allow ICE agents to go in and do their job and enforce the law as it is written. If Brandon Johnson or J.B. Pritzker has a problem with that, they need to take it to the United States Congress. President Trump is trying to allow these ICE agents to do their job, get violent criminals, gang members off the streets. And I can guarantee you the citizens of Chicago are going to be grateful when that is done. So I hope that that's the end we see happen, and I know that that's what this president wants.
Lara, I cannot let you go before I get your quick take on the president not getting the Nobel Peace Prize, getting snubbed on that award despite so many different nominations from all over the world, and the person who just won basically dedicating it to him. Quick thought on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he deserves it more than anyone alive on this planet right now. There's no doubt. This will be his 8th conflict if this is successful in the Middle East, and probably something that people in their wildest dreams never thought in our lifetime we would see happen. No one deserves it more than President Trump, but we know these people who establish who wins the Nobel Peace Prize hate Donald Trump. They suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. And in our hearts, he will be winning the Nobel Peace Prize. We know that for sure. And I hope he gets it in the future.
Okay.